I have 1340. You're probably surprised that someone from the US is using 1340. We usually say 140, but I work on a 24-hour clock because I'm part of the Java community and I never sleep. So thank you for coming, spending about 15 minutes, roughly, with me today. I appreciate you giving up a little bit of your lunchtime, but make sure you eat after this. My name is Sharat Chander. I know most of you, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm part of the Java team at Oracle by way of Sun. And I've been working on Java, with Java, and now on Java since 1997, as you can tell by the gray in my beard. And if you do the math, that's almost 25 years, which means, according to most doctors, the lifespan of a man is 75 years, which means I've lived a third of my life working on Java. Maybe I'll make it to 100, in which case that's a quarter of my life. And today's talk, it's a very brief talk, but it's an important talk. It's all about the power of the community. And I wanted to give you a little bit of context as far as how my journey started, and then I want to give you some resources that you can rely on to empower your utilization of Java. So there's been a great number of technical talks today and yesterday and on Tuesday, which I hope you had a chance to go and see some very technical speakers who are delivering some amazing information. Today is all about resources for you. So before we get into the resources, a little bit of my background. So I worked in telecom when your parents had to pick up a phone, dial with a rotor, and it's connected through a copper line, and if you messed up the phone number, you had to put the receiver back down, pick it up again, start all over. And so that was telecommunications back in the old ages. And I got to join a company that is now known around the world as Verizon. And we knew back in the late 90s that the future was mobile. And we were all exploring for how do we create a successful market to drive innovation through mobile. And we learned about this 4-letter language called Java. And I was like, what is this? And so I went to the first Java 1 in 1996. I still have my backpack. I still have my Java ring. These are mementos I will never get rid of. And when I got there, I thought I was just going to learn about the language. I was going to learn about how to become a better programmer. I was going to learn about how to utilize this in my day job. And what I found out was it's not just about the technology. And I think this is something that Sun Microsystems, where I started, doesn't get enough credit for, which is, as great as the innovation of Java was, it wasn't about the technology, it was about the people. Because if it wasn't about the people, I wouldn't be standing here on this stage today. Sun recruited me from Verizon because I knew the mobile space, but because of the connections I had, the people I knew in the industry. And it was because of the user groups that I joined that Sun even realized who I was. And I have to tell you, no matter where you go and what you do, it's great that you can empower yourself with great technical skills, but it's about the people that will really advance you to places where you may never know. So let's just start off with, I just want to say, Java loves the United Kingdom. If you don't know it, some of the most important people in the Java team live right here in the UK. Folks that are working on Project Loom with virtual threads, based right here in Soho. If you don't know Ron Pressler, who's the lead engineer, he's based here. Folks that are working on Project Panama in terms of interconnecting the JVM with native code, they're in Ireland. We have folks that are working on Amber that are up in Scotland. A few of them are peppered around the area. I don't think you realize just how much talent there is from our Java engineering team that is actually in country here. And we're so proud that whenever we get a chance to come and present to all of you. So if you're based here, you have great talent. If you're came from another part of the world, like I did, all the way from California, we recognize that this is a center of engineering excellence. So how does the community power the future of Java? Well, it comes in two ways. One is participating in the Java projects that allow you to make informed decisions and provide feedback. And then the other part is contributing to the community. And you can't do that unless we're standing up resources as the maintainers of this great technology and this great community. Now, some of you might realize there was a schism at Oracle where for many years we were standing on the shoulders of giants and we were promoting Java, but there was that period in 2015, I know some of you are nodding your heads, where literally the entire evangelism team was laid off. I was part of that ugly moment of history. And it sent a signal to all of you that Oracle was not serious about Java. While we were making investments in the engineering, we forgot that the connection that started over 20 years ago was about the people. And we've been slowly laying the bricks to really bring that back. And so today I'm going to cover a lot of those programs that allow you to shape the future of Java by contributing to it, as well as joining the community. And so this is your opportunity to break out your cameras, capture the slides that most interest you. Maybe you can post it and share it with your friends who are not here. But let me take you on this journey. Which, by the way, I forgot to say, there's going to be a quiz at the end, so you may want to listen. Because if you get the question right, you're going to get this isn't crypto, this isn't Bitcoin, because it's not valuable. This is actually something worth much more. It is a Java coin. This is actually priceless. So you may have seen Mark Hazel put out a Duke coin earlier that I gave him a challenge coin this week. There's 100 of those in existence. These Java coins, there's about 1,000. Well, how many have I given out? I think we're down to like maybe 400 and some. So there's not many of these left. So I'll do a little quiz at the end. If you get the question right, you can walk away with something that is going to be worth more than Bitcoin ever will in its future. So listen carefully. So the first resource I want to turn to is, I know all of you have day jobs. You all are focused on the task at hand, but the best thing you can do to shape the future of Java is download the early access releases that we have. Now, I remember the years when we had major releases, the first time you would ever touch a build was when it was generally available. And that was the first time you would actually be able to look at it in production and see, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Is it going to break my environment? Well, ever since we've moved to the 6-month release cadence, what this has allowed us to do is give you early access to the next release. So you can do your testing in advance and give us feedback, because what that does is allow us to improve the quality of the release before we make it available. And I don't think enough developers realize just how valuable downloading the EA builds are. It doesn't take a lot of time. We have a feedback mechanism that allows you to give us the input based on your environment, because there's only so much we can know. That we're trying to make informed decisions, but the best way we can refine that next release is by understanding your specific use cases, because all of you have different ones. None of you have the same environment. None of you have the same task at hand. None of you are trying to drive towards the same initiative. It's all very unique to you, and we want to make sure we account for all of those use cases as best we can. So please, I ask you, download the early access builds. This is literally the easiest way for you to participate and shape the future of Java. Now, if you're a little bit more daring, and I know some of you are, I would love for you to see you participate in the Open Jdk Project. Now, this is your chance to actually sit, virtually in most cases, side by side with our engineers to actually make some of the design decisions. If you don't realize it, all of the innovation of Java happens at the Open Jdk Project. We've had companies and developers ask, well, we don't know what Oracle is doing with Java. And the reality is, we are completely transparent. All of the development happens at Open Jdk. You can look at the code check-ins, you can look at the comments, you can look at the design decisions. So that's in the reading form. But you can then also participate. You can be an author, you can be a contributor. You have various levels of participation where you can take on that responsibility and ownership with us. Like I said, we're a team. We believe we're making the best decisions, but we collectively make better decisions with that participation. And I don't think we see enough of the community taking part in Open Jdk. I love the fact that I see every day, I get a readout of who's reading our mailing lists, who's subscribing to our mailing lists, learning about the various updates within each project. But what we don't see is enough of that community spirit of actually working and helping with those design decisions. So if you feel a little bit daring and want to learn more about how to participate in Open Jdk, you can always DM me on Twitter if you'd like, or find a way to connect with me, or maybe we talk after this, and I can give you some more details as far as how to take advantage of that Open Jdk project. Now, everything else is about resources for you. All of the tools, resources, and learning material that I was exposed to over 20 years ago, many of those have disappeared, and now we're just starting to reintroduce them. It's great that you're all great Java programmers, but we need to give you existing and concrete programs to help you drive your career and also help you make those connections in the community. So it's one thing to learn going to a session. It's another thing to learn from your peers in terms of best practices, in terms of use cases, in terms of similarities. And I think that spirit of community connection is vitally important for the next 25 years of Java. So the first resource is something we just launched in September of last year called inside.java. This is where all of our engineers publish blogs, all of the technical updates, so you can have it in an aggregated and a curated fashion to understand what we're doing. Like I said, I know you all have your day jobs. You can go to it. By the way, it should be a very easy URL to remember, inside.java. Literally your chance to look at how everything is being done by the voices, by the people making the technology. The second most important resource that I'm going to show today is dev.java. Again, should be a very easy URL to remember. Dev.java is your one-stop portal for that exploration of everything Java that we just recently launched again back in September. This is where we have all of our learning material, our tutorials, whether you're intermediate, novice, or expert. We have all of our community information there. You can discover all of the Java user groups around the world on a map. You can find out who the leaders are. You can explore who our Java champions are, those voices that are doing powerful things in the community. You can have an aggregated list of all of the Java conferences around the world, like Devoxx UK. What is the date? What is the location? When is the CFP launching? Literally one place to get all of that information. And we'd love your feedback as well, because we need to continue to populate this with information that is valuable to you. So this is just a starting point. This was something you might remember, developer.java.net. That disappeared. You're nodding. Yes, I agree. We're laying down the bricks to bring back a lot of that spirit. If you're on Twitter, I ask you to follow @Java as well. We're now up to over 500,000 followers. This is our way using our social voice, our social platform, to talk about all of those updates, as well as you can go to @Java, click on list, and then you can discover all of the Java engineers at Oracle who are active on social. That way you can connect with them directly. I think that's vitally important. We have now rebuilt our team, that team of 12 evangelists that we unfortunately had to say goodbye to. And I miss many of them, and many of them actually were giving talks today. We're starting to build out that team again, and which, by the way, I have something at the very end, and I hope you'll take advantage of it. But this is our team right now. We're up to 9 members located all across the world. Many of them spoke here as well. Follow them on Twitter as well, because they're very active in terms of telling you about what are the updates and the best uses of the technology. I'm going to go over to some of the programs each of those advocates build, because the program should be reflective of the person. Technology is not just about, let me show you the speeds and feeds. It should represent who that person is. And so for Nikolai, he does our weekly Java newscast. It gives you an entire digest in video form of all of the updates that have happened from the previous week. Extremely valuable to watch him. Second one is David Delabase. He does a podcast. He does it roughly every 2 weeks. He interviews all of the engineers, key voices in the community, to give you sort of like that, if you're sitting in your car, well, if you have a car, I don't own a car, You can just listen to that conversation. And by the way, you're probably wondering, oh my God, there's so many different forms to stay connected. And the reality is, we all have different modalities of what we like in terms of how we stay connected. And we need to ensure that we have as many of those modalities to reach out to you. Now, Billy Carando, who's unfortunately not here, I wish he's here and speaking, he has SIP of Java. And he's one of the newest members of our team. And so part of SIP is his journey in terms of learning about the history of Java and then bringing forth many of the features that we have all maybe have forgotten about in terms of its value. So these are literally 1-minute clips to give you a highlight about an important feature that maybe it does not have the popularity of some of the more significant features that you can then go and explore on your own afterwards. Next is Jep Cafe. You might have met Jose Pumard, who did the workshop yesterday. Jep Cafe is his video format to explore specific JEPs, JDK enhancement proposals that are either completed or are in the authoring stage. Another valuable asset. And where do all of these live? Well, we finally reorganized our presence on YouTube, and we finally reached 100,000 subscribers. YouTube sent us this plaque that I thought was metal, but it was just actually plastic. Yay, YouTube. But we're aggregating content in a way that is presented in an organized fashion so you can better understand which learning path to take. Now, here's an important thing. We are hiring. If you go to inside.java, we have an entire catalog of openings where you can discover how our team needs you. Maybe one of you want to step up and join our team to come and work. Engineering roles, development roles, sustaining roles, advocacy roles. I'm hiring. I'm looking to bring someone on board. You can work anywhere in the world except Antarctica because I don't have a legal entity there. Oracle doesn't have a legal entity there, which means any of the other continents, if you're there, we would be happy for you to join our team. And last but not least, like I said, I have some of these coins that I want to give away. So my first question is, what year did Java become publicly available? What year? Raise your hand and I'll call on you. 1995. Here you go. Come on up. Very good. All right. Second question. This is a little bit harder. What is the name of the Java mascot? He raised his hand first. I'm sorry. There you go. All right. Two more. Who is the current language architect of Java? The current language architect of Java. Very well played.
Thank you.
All right. Within 10, how many Java user groups are there in the world? Within 10. I have to make the last question the hardest.
Can we just guess random?
Sure.
7?
7
Java user groups. So
You said within 10.
within 10.
No, within, like, you have to guess it right within 10, like, numbers. So, like,
Even more than 10. So I was just like, huh?
The guess was 425. The gentleman is very close, but wrong, and it's not within 10.
570.
Way off.
400.
Wrong direction. And he said 425, so remember within 10. 485. Ooh, just a little bit. 435 is actually the right number.
Ooh, thank you.
Congrats. So, thank you so much for your time. Go enjoy lunch, and please connect. I'm looking forward to connecting with you, many of you as possible. Thank you.